Assassins. The Imperium is under attack from all sides by the heretic, the alien, and the mutant. To confront this, humanity must present a united front. To ensure that this happens, the Officio Assassinorum remains vigilant to ensure that those who had threatened humanity with the sin of change can be purged so that the Imperium may remain pure. Hey guys, Jay here. Welcome to Eons of Battle. The Officio Assassinorum, the secret hand of the Imperium. They protect the future of humanity by eliminating those who become tainted with treachery, greed, demonic influence, or other gross evils too heinous to name, like disloyalty. In the grim and dark world of Warhammer 40k, tools like the Assassins are a necessary evil, to remove a few to protect the many from being persuaded away from the saving light of the Imperial Creed. How many more citizens would have been dragged down by their corrupting ideas? The Assassins work tirelessly and without thanks. Their bloody hands are the secret saviors of the Nope, it's too hot. I'm about to set myself on fire. Whew, all right, much better. The Officio Assassinorum is a highly secretive organization created by the only man to actually get anything done right in the entire history of mankind, my boy, Malcador the Sigillite. This organization trains the terrifying biomodified killers used for assassination missions sanctioned by the High Lords of Terra, the shriveled old potatoes who run all of mankind. A brief history of the real assassins, old G-Dubs has sold assassins since the very beginning with some crunchy but classy metal models. These pewter puppies were the assassins on offer until 2015 when they dropped 4 sweet plastic sculpts that were unveiled in a box set. Assassinorum Execution Force, a game of infiltration and assassination in the 41st millennia. It came with all 4 plastic assassins, 3 Chaos Space Marines, a Chaos Lord and Terminator armor, and 15 cultists. And for some reason they included a bunch of cardstock and rules for a game, but really it was about getting these figs for 40k. 22 minis still doesn't feel like a great deal coming in at $125, but it was miles ahead of what would happen. $38 a pop is shocking. Well, $38 for the 3 dudes. The Lady Callus is a steal at only $35. And we saw a little more of the Assassins from Games Workshop with the launch of Warhammer Plus. Full-year subscribers were given the choice of a rather lackluster Orruk Megaboss or a very cool Vindicare Assassin as the free perk. The Assassins have never looked better, and with a price tag to match, and I want them all. I mean, they're kind of a set, but at $149, it's just not going to happen. For $1 more, I could start a Tyranid army, or any army, but I want them. And that brings me to the sponsor of today's video. The Maker's Cult is a 3-man team creating 3D printable miniatures for use in your favorite tabletop wargames. They focus on a sci-fi gothic theme with many awesome models such as the militaristic Valor Corps Shock Infantry, their cavalry, and abhumans. The majestic Centaur Knight Chassis, the historic Feudal Guard Command Squad, their Laser Gun Squad, and Walker Mark II. The Dark Techno Isopotus Transport and Tank, and lots more. And what makes them unique is not only are their models great sculpts, but they are also great modular wargaming miniatures. They can be broken down into easy to assemble parts, which makes it a breeze to modify, convert, and kit bash the miniatures to make them your own. By signing up to their Patreon, you'll receive a welcome pack and that month's new miniatures, and in addition, they sell all of their previous work on CG Trader, so click on the link below and head on over to Maker's Cult. When I scrolled through their collection, I was immediately drawn to the Dark Techno series, specifically the Caecus, the Arcanus, the Oculus, and the Brutus Assassins. These are the proxies I've been looking for. And don't tell Games Workshop I said this, but they might look even better. These guys will scratch that assassin itch. I can have the full squad, and these guys are bigger and beefier, and it'll give me that board presence I want out of my quartet of killers. And of course, you know me, I need them on some slick bases. I drew a circle on a sheet of 1/4 inch cork using the base as a template. I tore it off with my fingies, letting it be just a little bigger than the base. Then I glued them down using lots and lots of super glue. On some of them, I cut them in half. These are going to be concrete, so I want to represent some seams to add realism. Then I put a little plastic putty on the surface to hide the cork holes. We all know you got to get rid of the cork holes. And finally, some rebar. I took some wire and shoved it into the side of the cork. Once it was in there, I cut it off, letting uneven amounts stick out as if this section was torn away from the rest of the structure. But Jay, I hear you ask, that just looks like a pile of cork and paper clips. Well, it may not look like much now, but just you wait. I know what I'm doing. The Imperial Guard is the strength of the Imperium, the Space Marines are the sword, the Sisters of Battle are the heart, the Adeptus Mechanicus is the machine, and the Assassins are... well, they're just the dirty little secret keeping everyone in line. The Assassins may be the most lethal thing in 40k. They've even killed a Primarch, and if you know anything about the Primarchs, they are basically unkillable. So unkillable that most of them are dead. Still a huge achievement though. I'll paint these up until they shine, and I've explored the sacred texts. I'll explain each of the 4 assassins in detail. So a great paint job starts with a great idea. And where do you find great ideas? Well... Well, maybe just find it along the way. I'm gonna start out by giving these guys a Zenithal Plus. And what's a Zenithal Plus, you ask? Well, first you gotta prime the minis black, then a coat of white paint from above. Pretty standard stuff, and they look good, but now it's time for the plus. I broke out the Null Oil, a black wash. I gave each mini 2 dousings. This'll darken all the recesses and dull the white down to a gray. Then I mixed up a little white paint and dry brushed this over the models, and this brought out all the details while leaving those crisp black recesses. This gives a much harsher contrast than just normal Zenithal. That is a Zenithal Plus. It's a little bit more work, but I think it's worth it. Now, everything important on the model has been highlighted all the way up to white. With a classic Zenithal, white over black, you really end up with gray. But with that dry brushing, everything that's important is bright. Now the first real step, paint. But I can't just use regular old opaque acrylics. That'll hide the beautiful work I did with the Zenithal Plus. I'll be using contrast paint because they are transparent, and while I'm slobbering this contrast base coat on, let me tell you about the lore of these assassins. Starting with, the Culexus assassins are some of the most unique individuals in the galaxy, but they are not gifted, rather cursed. They have no souls. The warp is an integral part of the galaxy. It's the dark reflection of the material universe. The warp is an ocean of chaotic psychic energy, raw emotion given physical form. Every sentient being in the universe contributes to it, and some psychically gifted can tap into its power. But the Culexus assassins are voids, holes in this foundational material. This lack of essence means most humans can barely stand to be around them, and to psychers their presence is deadly. This uniqueness means that they are easy to spot by their psychic query, so they remain hidden until the moment they strike by their chief piece of war gear, the Anima Speculum, the arcane eye, this hideous machine that hides their face. Once this mechanical eye is open, no psyker can hope to prevail. To add to their mysterious powers, they wear a black body glove known as the Ethereum, a suit that allows them to phase out of reality, which turns them into a psyker-eating phantom, able to phase through walls and doors on their quest to find and destroy their targets. The assassins of the Temple Vindicare have elevated the skill of marksmanship to art. A single bullet delivered at the right place at the right time can change the course of history, and that is the duty of the Vindicare. All sense of self and feeling is trained out of these assassins to the point where there is little difference between the Vindicare and the Exodus rifle they carry. These eliminators are faultless infiltrators, using stealth and evasion to scout out their targets and plant themselves in the perfect spot where they wait. The assassins can sit and wait in the perfect position overlooking their targets for days or weeks waiting to take that one shot. Whole heresies have been stopped by a single bullet from the Vindicare's rifle, and they have a whole host of different ammo types to ensure that whatever their target, they will be dropped. And once the target has met their demise, the bullet will quietly self-destruct, leaving no trace. The Callidus assassins are masters of infiltration. That should go without saying for members of a secret order of assassins, but the Callidus remain concealed while in plain sight. They are shapeshifters, able to take the form of anyone using the shape-altering drug polymorphine. A Callidus can change any and every part of their appearance to create the perfect doppelganger. They can get behind enemy lines with ease, eliminating and replacing unfortunate individuals until they are standing right beside their target, with their mark being none the wiser. Anyone at any time could be a hidden Callidus assassin, and there is no telltale marks, no giveaways, no fatal flaw to their disguise. These assassins are armed with a number of exotic weapons like poison blades and the frightening Neural Shredder, but their main armament is the Satan Phase Sword, a filthy Xenos weapon that exists in multiple realities, and can simply bypass armor as if it were not there to strike at the flesh underneath. Although positively strapped, the majority of successful assassinations leave no evidence of foul play. With the ability to wander openly amongst their quarry, they don't need to jeopardize their cover. They can simply get close to the target and arrange for accidents. The designation of assassin is fairly inaccurate when prescribed to the Eversor assassins. They don't sneak, they don't infiltrate, they don't even know how to hide. They are crazed berserkers. Eversors are not sent in to eliminate single targets. They are dropped in to blaze a bloody trail of death and destruction through crowds of unfortunate rebels, insurgents, or ne'er-do-wells. This violence is fueled by an exotic drug called Frenzon. Oh god, who writes this? A stimulant that creates a state of permanent rage. The deployment of an Eversor is a shock and terror tactic, instilling fear of imperial retribution into the hearts and minds of all those who hold positions of power. Many a noble imperial house corrupted by greed, the machinations of chaos, or just a bit too slow to pay their tithe has been single-handedly destroyed by an Eversor assassin. Not only are these crazed monsters deployed on the general populace of mankind, but they are also often used in warfare, unceremoniously drop-potted into the heart of enemy command or key strategic assets. You know, these guys are basically D&D rejects. The Culexus is the sorcerer, the Eversor is the fighter, the Vindicare is the ranger, and the Callidus is the rogue. I think if they showed up to a campaign, the DM would start crying. Anyhow, the paint jobs are done. Time for basing. I took some inks, burnt umber and black, and glazed these over the bases. These will tint and add a little color saturation to the boring gray bases. I put quite a few layers on to really darken them up. Now I have to bring back a little gray to sell the concrete. I watered down the paints a lot. Then I began randomly spreading this over the bases. I did this again and again, keeping the pattern random and applying less and less paint with each pass, so the end product looked very natural. To top it all off, I took a light gray and a dry brush, and I did a light stippling over the base to add a bit of texture, while still allowing the previous layers to show through. Now that is a cork tower I can be proud of, but I'm not done yet. I broke out some orange pigment and Elmer's glue. I put this over the exposed rebar. The Elmers will stick the pigments down and give them a thick, crunchy texture. I press my dry pigments into the Elmers. You want to achieve the look of your fingers halfway through a bag of Flamin' Hots. Then I made up a watery pigment solution and splashed this around the pipes. I know exactly what I want to use these guys for. I've said it before, I think Imperial Knights are the perfect vehicle, pun intended, for getting folks into your games of Warhammer 40,000. It's one model, couple of weapon options, keep it simple. You hand them this and you let them stomp around. Well, I'm gonna use these assassins in the exact same way. These assassins are perfect for those friends who can handle a little extra complexity. 4 models with unique abilities. You could even let them join right in the middle of a game. It makes perfect sense for the assassins to just show up. And it would add a fun spice to your wargame. I hope this goes without saying, but if you do give your friends a big stompy robot or a gaggle of assassins, don't just blast them off the board. You know what you're doing, but they don't. That means you're in a prime spot to show them a good time. I used to box, and my coach taught me a valuable lesson. He would always make newbies spar with pros. And that might sound dumb, but it was actually really smart. You would think you want to keep it all at the same level, but that can lead to accidents. A rookie throws a lucky punch, the other beginner doesn't know how to guard, they get a bloody nose, they leave, they never come back. But the pro would immediately see what the noob is doing and just kind of play around with them. Bob and weave, move him around the ring, let him get a couple of non-effective punches in, push him around a little bit, they'd both have fun. It's the same situation with Warhammer. Let a nice juicy target wander into their line of sight. Give them a good close combat, a heroic last stand. Show them a good time. These assassins all have a preferred matchup, maybe help facilitate those encounters. I can't wait to give someone a chance to try them out.